and the NFL's most valuable defensive player, Pro Bowl linebacker, number 52, Ray Lewis.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a seated position, I'm instructing you to get up and give it up for the greatest middle linebacker to ever do it. Mr. Ray Lewis, in the Baltimore Ravens. Stand up for my man, as we get ready to take it out.
Welcome to Baltimore and the electric atmosphere of the year's first playoff game between the Titans and the Ravens. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. Tennessee comes into this game with the NFL's best wild card record. They are 12-4, and they are a complete team again because their star quarterback, Steve McNair, is back, the league's co-MVP, coming off the best season of his career. For the Ravens, they have won 5 in a row in this series, and the formula is simple. Rely on a great defense and pound Jamal Lewis. In fact, he became the 5th player ever last week, Joe, to go over 2,000 yards in a single season.
Well, Mike, you know the Baltimore Ravens are going to run the football. As a matter of fact, it doesn't happen very often in the playoffs when the #1 run defense goes up against the #1 run offense in the National Football League. It's happened twice. The defense has won both of them. I don't expect Jamal Lewis to gain 100 yards in this game against Tennessee. I just think he has to do what he's done so well, control the game for the Ravens.
All right, thanks, Joe. Ray Lewis and Eddie George have met many times in many significant games. Paul, whoever wins that matchup today could determine the outcome.
Yeah, but Eddie George is the inspirational leader of this Tennessee team, and he's had not much success against the Ravens in 5 straight losses. He's only averaged 55 yards a game. Ray Lewis is the heart and soul of this entire Ravens football team. He owns Eddie George. He said to us the other day, my job is to stop Eddie George. I don't know of anybody else in the National Football League that can make that statement. So today, we're going to see 2 warriors go at it.
So now it's just a pure-out dogfight. There's no love. There's no shaking hands. There ain't no smiling. It's nothing nice about this game. This game is business. This game is about you hit or you be hit. Deal with it.
Steve McNair was already among the NFL's elite, but this week received his highest honor as the league's co-MVP. Susie Colbert has more.
Well, Mike, to truly appreciate what this means to Steve McNair, you've got to go back to 1995. He was the 3rd overall pick in the draft from tiny Alcorn State. He sat for his first 2 seasons and since then developed a reputation as one of the toughest players in the game. But he was never bitter about the lack of recognition. But when word came yesterday, he broke down.
The emotion that was going through my body, I couldn't explain. And the night before, it's like, do I have a chance? Do I have a chance? Didn't get any sleep, you know, thinking I'm just like a little kid waiting on Christmas, trying to open up the toys. And I'm like, you know, do I have a chance? Do I have a chance? And when he announced that, and my teammates were the first thing I thought about, who gave me an opportunity and gave me the chance to be successful this year. And it was just amazing because I worked hard for those guys, because I know those guys will work hard for me.
Jeff Fisher delivered the message at a team meeting yesterday. He had the NFL record book in his hand and he started reading names like Montana, Young, Favre. He said they all won Super Bowls after being named MVP. He looked at Steve and said, you have your work cut out for you. And the team gave him a standing ovation.
A jam-packed M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, almost 70,000 people as the Ravens will get the ball first against the Tennessee Titans. This will not be a game for the faint of heart. Entrick to kick to Brightful. And it goes into the end zone and out of the end zone. Ravens start from their own 20 with the NFL rushing champion Jamal Lewis, the deep man in the backfield. They open up with 2 tight ends. Ricard, the blocking back in front of Lewis. The quarterback, Anthony Wright. Wright bootleg after the fake, being chased by Kevin Carter and throws it away. So on first down, Baltimore tries to come up and cross up Tennessee with the play fake. And they face 2nd and 10. Lewis Nowhere to go. Lewis rushed for 2,066 yards. The second highest total of any back in NFL history, as he was chasing Eric Dickerson's all-time single-season record.
Ta-da! We were here last week when he got 2,000. Was that good?
Does it count now if we can add more? I don't think so. You know what? I've got to believe the pressure. He just has to feel like so much pressure is off his shoulders that he can just go out and run with the football and be the back that he was for the previous 15 games.
3rd and 9. They'll spread the field this time and keep an eye on Marcus Robinson, number 87. He's Anthony Wright's favorite receiver this year. They want to screen, and it's batted down and nearly intercepted. Keith Bullock with the pressure, and Robert Smith got a hand on the football.
Oh, he got more than a hand on it. This could have been disastrous for the Ravens. He hits Robert Smith literally right smack dab in the nose with this ball. Unbelievable. That would have been a disaster for the Ravens.
Dave Zastudil on to punt, and Mason is the deep man, averaging 12.5 yards a return. Zastudil suffered a broken nose and a concussion a week ago.
And that was amazing because no one else got hurt. They went into overtime. No other player got hurt except the punter. I guess he didn't get hurt.
Not his leg. Mason taken down at the 33. Tennessee with the opening possession from its own 33. Eddie George, the single back. McNair, plenty of time, and throws downfield, complete to Drew Bennett out of UCLA, a gain of 17.
Well, even though you can't run the football, Eddie George is still a threat. And Drew Bennett's going to come across the formation. You see him on the left side. Now he drags underneath. He's got Ray Lewis chasing him. And Steve McNair gets to the most dangerous part of the field for this Baltimore Raven defense, and that is outside the pocket.
Steve McNair put up brilliant numbers, led the league in passer rating, 24 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. That's why he was co-MVP with Peyton Manning. Eddie George. Tennessee in the Baltimore territory for the first time in the game, just shy of the 45. Good protection for McNair. And he throws, is it complete? It is, to the 31. And Frank Wycheck, who is probably going to call it a career when the playoffs are done, picks up 14 yards.
Yeah, but Steve McNair will always tell you, I don't care about all the other receivers he has, that man, Frank Wycheck, catching this ball here is his go-to guy. He said he always has been, and he will be.
One of only 4 tight ends ever with more than 500 catches in his career, and Tennessee moves the ball to the Raven 31. This one is incomplete off the hands of Bennett.
Now
pressure from Kelly Gregg.
Now we have seen both quarterbacks throw the ball and have it be bouncing around in the air, and both of them have caught a lucky break. Anthony Wright on that first series, now Steve McNair. Although Bennett was wide open, it looked like, you get a feel. Tennessee feels like, okay, we're going to run sparingly. Steve McNair's our MVP. We're putting it on his shoulders to go out and win this game for us.
Eddie George, room off the left side. And Eddie George drives inside the 20-yard line. They'll mark him out at the 18. Will Demps forced him out.
This is one of the things you just didn't think you would see happen against this Baltimore Raven defense. Get to the outside. Look at how they block inside, and nobody came up on the outside. Demps never got there, but the linebacker never stayed to the outside.
Eddie George, 128 straight starts. Nobody has ever started more games to begin a career as a running back. And only he and Jim Brown got to 10,000 yards without ever missing a start. George again. This time caught around the ankles by Anthony Weaver, who had a big game a week ago. This drive has already eaten up 52 yards.
Brian Billick told us the other day, Joe, that about McNair. He said, what do you need to do with him? He says, keep him in the pocket.
Well, it's easier said than done. If Eddie George can run, then you can run the play action. The linebackers have to respect that, and he's going to get outside. And especially when you get in the red area here, it becomes so vitally important to keep Steve in the pocket.
2nd and 7, Eddie George. To the 11, brought down by Marcus Douglas, and right now you get the feeling Tennessee really has that Raven defense off balance.
Well, you can't forget that this Tennessee Titan football team made it to the AFC Championship game. They've been in Super Bowls. They've been in championship games over the last 4 years. This is a very young, rebuilt Raven football team that hasn't felt this type of intensity before.
And they're going to spread some people out.
They haven't given up a touchdown on offense in the last 10 quarters. 3rd and 3. McNair, quarterback draw. He has room and has the first down inside the 5.
What they were telling us, the Ravens, yesterday, the day before, excuse me, about Steve McNair. Steve McNair is a quarterback. They say, well, he's hurt. No, he isn't. Not for this game, he isn't. You cannot bring him down by arm tackling him. He is a strong runner.
Well, you can construct any defense you want. You can stop the wide receivers. You can stop the running backs. The one thing you can't account for is a quarterback that can take off and run.
1st and goal. Running formation. Eddie George hit the backfield and taken down. Kelly Gregg, the nose tackle, who just got a 5-year contract extension because of plays like that.
They're going to make a 6-year extension after this one. Look at Kelly Gregg. You talk about being in the backfield. Look at the left-hand side of the screen. Bang. If you don't block, you're going to get buried. He was in the backfield, almost took the handoff.
Another one of those guys who nobody wanted, bounced from practice squad to practice squad, but as a nose tackle, he's already been in on 100 stops this year. Chris Brown checks into the backfield, 2nd and goal. And McNair will use a timeout. McNair, they give it off to Brown, and Brown into the end zone for a touchdown. The rookie from Colorado.
Well, if you're going to run, why not run behind 2 big guys? Benji Olsen and Fred Miller on the right side opened up a fantastic hole. Chris Brown is a changeup for the Tennessee Titan offense. He's quicker than Eddie George. Look at the hole. Really goes in untouched, and if you're going to run against the Ravens, you've got to block Ray Lewis. There's a good job by Justin Hartwig, the center.
Well, I'll tell you, that's all 3 linemen on that right, starting with the center and going right. Everybody took a man down.
44-year-old Gary Anderson for the point after. And Tennessee shocks this sellout crowd. They lead it 7-0. It was a beautifully executed scoring drive by the Titans. 10 plays, 67 yards, more than 5 minutes taken off the clock. Well, Brightful has to run up on it, has a huge hole across the 40. And down near the 45-yard line, there's a penalty on the play.
Holding back at the 30-yard line, which will move the ball back to the 20-yard line. Oh, they're moving it further than that. They put it back on the 25-yard line.
During the return, holding number 32 of the receiving team. That's a 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Musa Smith called for the hold. First and 10 from the 15 for Baltimore. Wright straight back to throw. Good protection and completes it out to the 20, gain of about 5. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, if you want some insight into the Titans' game plan, all you have to do is go back to the Titans' Week 7 against Carolina. At the time, Carolina had the #1 rush offense and a great defense, but the Titans were up 28-7 at halftime because they made them one-dimensional. And Jeff Fisher claims that the only time they really loaded up to stop the run was that week and against New Orleans. You saw the results. Stephen Davis, Deuce McAlister, who have almost 3,000 yards this year, totaled just 28 yards.
The question is, can they do it to the NFL's leading rusher they have so far? And they do on this play as he picks up about 2 or 3.
I think what's critical is they can hold Jamal. I mean, he averages 78 yards against them when he's played them before. They can hold him to under 100, but it's runs like this that are important, and the 3rd and shorts. That's where Baltimore has to convert them. I believe they'll have to throw on 1st and 10 to loosen up Tennessee a little bit. Jamal will get his chances, and he's going to have to break 1 or 2, but they can't try and make a steady diet of him. It's going to fall on Anthony Wright's shoulders.
And they're going to have to throw the ball on 3rd and short and not worry just about Jamal.
Wright walking up and down the line, changing the play perhaps.
Like
3rd
now.
and 2. Out in the flat, just off of Heap's fingertips. The all-pro tight end couldn't hold it. It's 3 and out for Baltimore.
Well, Lamont Thompson was on him, but that ball was thrown, should have been caught. I mean, that's the only place you can throw it where it has to be caught, and that's to the outside. Would have been a 1st down. But that's another thing. Anthony Wright is going to have to throw the ball on 3rd down and short.
Derek Mason backpedals to near his 30 for Zastadil's kick. Another good one, beauty. Mason back to the 21. Trying to get to the sideline. A flag is down as he goes out of bounds. 13-yard return after a 55-yard punt. We'll check the marker with referee Jeff Triplett.
You're in your 17th game of the year, 4 preseasons. What's that, 21? And you're still hitting guys when you see their name on the back of their shirt? Is that dumb?
During the return, holding number 55 of the return team. At the 10-yard penalty, it'll be a 1st down.
7-0 Tennessee over Baltimore in Baltimore, where we have had a little taste of spring in January today. Temperatures in the 60s. Tennessee takes over to its own 25. Eddie George back in the ball game. Nice fake by McNair. Plenty of time to throw. And the play action has worked beautifully so far. That's complete for a 1st down. And McAlister has to make the tackle on Mason.
Well, I'll tell you, on this play action pass right here, it froze the entire defense. Nobody got within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. Just take a look at the line of scrimmage and see where the dark jerseys are. They're all along the line. McNair had all the time in the world to throw the ball.
And he's hit 3 out of 4 so far. Virtually no pressure on the league's co-MVP. This one tipped by Reed and intercepted by Will Demps. 30, gets a block, 20, 10, Demps, touchdown, 56 yards. If you make mistakes against the Ravens defense, they make you pay.
It isn't just mistakes, Mike, and Steve McNair told us this yesterday when we sat with him. If the ball is tipped, what happens when the ball is tipped? They usually wind up with the football in their hands, and that's exactly what you saw. Ed Hartwell, number 56, hustling back. Will Demps playing center field, and Demps winds up taking it into the end zone.
Matt Stover for the point after. And we have a tie game in Baltimore. Steve McNair had the 2nd lowest interception percentage in NFL postseason history, only to Bart Starr, but he was picked that time by Will Demps. And when you're intercepted by the Ravens, they return it in a heartbeat.
They are so good at getting to the ball when it's bouncing up in the air.
This may not be as good a defense as the one that won the Super Bowl, but it is more athletic and it has more speed. Taken on a bounce by Shad Meyer, the tight end. He takes it to the 37.
Watch what happens on this particular pass play. Steve McNair from the right side is going to try and hit a skinny post. That's Will Demps. He's just sort of playing center field, keeping an eye on McNair. Ed Reed comes into your picture, just manages to tip the ball. Ed Reed does an excellent job of reading McNair and then tip. There's the tip, trying to go to Mason. And there's Demps playing the center field and picking off the ball as it bounces around in the middle.
Ed Reed is an exceptional athlete, but he is also an exceptional student. He spends virtually every night at Ray Lewis's house watching film. He knows where the ball is going. Eddie George. And there is Ray Lewis to meet him at the 36. And you don't think that interception energized this group?
Well, Ray Lewis told us the other day, he says, my job is to stop Eddie George. And I'll tell you what, that's 52 on 27. Is he going right at him? Well, when you're not slowing him, you better put somebody on to slow him down.
Now, after the first drive that Tennessee went down the field, Ray Lewis almost went man-to-man on the sidelines to tell the defense that it's unacceptable what happened. That's acceptable, what he just did.
3 tackles so far for the all-pro linebacker. Eddie George again, room to run this time across the 40 to the 43. Blitz coming, they pick it up. McNair with plenty of time. He takes off, and McNair belted as he got to the 49, but that will be a first down. Riddick Parker, nice job chasing the play from behind.
That entire play was set up because the guy that intercepted the ball, Will Demps, he had the outside contain on that side of the formation. He falls down and trips, and Fred Miller pushes him to the ground. You'll see it. Here's number 47 now. He has contained. There's number 71. He tries to get up. That's what allows Steve McNair to get outside, and that is the way Tennessee can beat you.
He did not push him to the ground. Trust me, that was not a push.
First and 10 at the 49. George. Nice hesitation to wait for the blocks and the hole to open up. He picks up 3, pushing and shoving after the play, and Kimoyatu made the tackle.
You're going to have holding on Brad Hopkins on number 94, Douglas. And that was back in the backfield about the 45-yard line.
Holding, number 72 of the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's amazing. He's only in his 8th year, and the guy hasn't ever missed a game. When you think about the bad toe he had in 2000, then he comes back in 2002. He's got the toe in the ankle, can barely move. We did a game when he basically limped off and on the football field. Talk about warriors.
Well, buzzer was inadvertently went off.
One of the things about Eddie George that he may have lost is that quick step. But he can still power. He can still get to the hole. He doesn't have that real quick burst once he gets there. But the way he's playing, hey, and that line he has, who needs it?
Chris Brown, who has the touchdown, comes in on 1st and 20. Ravens stack the line of scrimmage. And Brown will get about 4.
The thing about Chris Brown is he's a rookie 3rd-round draft choice for them. And he runs with his head down a little bit, like every rookie does. He hasn't learned the patience. He hasn't quite learned the nuances. He runs fairly straight up, does a good job of protecting the ball. I believe within a year or 2, he will be the heir apparent to that running back position for the Tennessee Titans. And they'll have a quicker, faster back.
Well, Eddie George has a $7 million cap number next year. So they're going to have to do something if he is to remain with his franchise. McNair, that little bootleg again. He's got room to run if he wants to. Throws at the last moment, and he's got McCareins. McCareins down to the 43, a yard shy of a first down. Ray Lewis on the tackle.
You cannot let Steve McNair get outside. And Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, is doing an excellent job putting his quarterback in positions to make plays. Here's the bootleg. You have to respect the run. Now you get him outside. You're never supposed to throw back across the formation, but McCareins does such a nice job of working into the hole and the void of the Raven defense and picking up a lot of yards.
They've been able to seal that edge whenever they want to and get McNair outside. Now 3rd and a yard. They started 1st and 20. McNair to throw under pressure. Gregg can't get him, throws on the run, knocked away by McAlister at the sideline.
Well,
finally some pressure on McNair.
Kelly Craig again. You know, this guy comes up. They ran a play action again, and McNair is the kind of guy that you better block him at the line of scrimmage. And Steve McNair, first of all, he's got to avoid. He's got to avoid right there, Greg. And now he gets to the outside. He's just throwing the ball away. He's not throwing it at anybody.
And that's what you saw, a rookie mistake from Chris Brown. He went the wrong way on the play action, which messed up the blocking up front, which made McNair get rid of the football.
Two-time Pro Bowler Craig Hendrick is in to punt. He loves to kick knuckleballs in this situation. Spirals this one instead. And the fair catch bobbled. Brightful dives on it and got it back.
Turning that franchise around.
The Ravens have done nothing on offense, and yet they're in a 7-7 ball game. Jamal Lewis stacked up at the line again, and Tennessee is just doing everything they can to take away the run.
That's three rushing times for 3 yards, period.
Jamal Lewis went over the 2,000-yard mark and advanced all the way to number 2 a week ago when we were here in Baltimore. 2,066 yards for the season. In that game, he passed O.J. Simpson, Terrell Davis, and Barry Sanders. Only Eric Dickerson had a better single-season mark in NFL history.
This is no small back, folks. This is a big guy.
He can run like a small back, but he's 240 and runs right over top of him.
You know, you just have the
Prior to
feeling.
the snap, false start, 66 to the offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Benny Anderson.
All right, this is their third possession, and you know, it's nothing to strangers. I mean, Tennessee is saying, okay, Anthony, Wright, if you want to beat us, you're going to have to. You're the only guy, because we're going to shut Jamal Lewis down. When I say shut him down, I'm talking about keeping him under 100 yards.
When you see a total yards of 9 in 3 possessions, that tells you you're doing a pretty good job.
After the penalty, 2nd and 15. Wright to throw from his end zone under pressure. Lewis on the screen, and right there was Samari Rolle, who read it perfectly from his corner and came up to make the tackle.
Do you know what one of the problems with this screen is that the Ravens are running? When they run it to the one side, the receiver on that side, Joe, goes down about 6 yards and just turns himself in and faces the safety like he's going to block him. So he's already determining that there's a screen coming. He's telling everybody in the secondary, screen is here.
Third and 17 for an offense not known for its big plays. Wright, quarterback draw. And dives out to the 12. Art Modell hoping to catch lightning in a bottle one more time as he completes his 43rd year as an NFL owner with the Browns and Ravens franchises. Won 1 NFL championship in Cleveland. Won a Super Bowl in 2000 with the Ravens, his final season as the owner. Zastudil punting. Derek Mason. 35 still on his feet. Finally down there. Great field position for Tennessee after a 15-yard punt return. Look at the numbers. The Ravens have 15 yards in this game. Count them, 15.
And Anthony Wright has 12 of those 15, or excuse me, he has 8 of the rushing yards of the 11 that are up there. Jamal Lewis has done nothing.
I'm really interested to see what field position was so far in this game. We've only been in 1 quarter, but it can't be good for the Ravens.
And both coaches knew this would be a field position game. Eddie George stacked up by Ed Hartwell, number 56, who along with Ray Lewis, the inside linebackers in this 3-4 scheme.
Just like Tennessee knows that Jamal's not going to be able to run against him, Lewis, you see, and you know that Tennessee has got to believe that they're not going to be able to run effectively against the Ravens. And look at the way they've started. They're going to have to take advantage of this good starting position and get some points on the board, or else, as we've seen happen so often, games turn and this thing starts to balance itself out. Tennessee's got to get something out of this drive.
You don't let a defensive team as good as the Ravens stay in the ball game.
2nd and 9. Eddie George this time trying to get off the left side. They seal the corner, and Eddie George with another nice gain. Near the 25-yard line, he picked up 9 yards.
He hasn't lost speed.
No, he hasn't. And you know where they're running? They're running at Terrell Suggs, number 55, the right defensive end. Now, he's playing for Peter Boulware. He's not as big, and he just can't quite make the plays. And that's also a rookie, Jarrett Johnson, at that end. So they've got 2 young guys playing outside on the left side of Tennessee's offense, and that's where they want to run.
Eddie George has already picked up 36 yards on 9 carries. Now they face 3rd and 1.
Sneak it.
And McNair does just that. Had his legs cut out from under him. This spot will be close.
If they
Marcus Douglas dove at his legs and cut him down.
If they put it on the line, he's got a first down, and it is a first down. By the nose of the ball. Just by the nose.
You okay?
Yeah, I just want to
All right.
nose of the ball. They go,
What was that coming at?
well, I want to let them know that it's a little foggy in here. Ships are coming in.
They'll bring out the chains.
Better be by the nose of the ball. By the nose.
I think he's short.
Out of here. Talking about my eyes, not yours.
Wow, don't let him stretch that chain again.
Just made it.
Well, before the game, I went down and added an extra link.
Well, that's all that they made it by, was that length. 1st and 10 at the 25. Tennessee has been impressive on offense. Eddie George. Nice cutback, dives in the 20 to about the 18-yard line. Gary Baxter, the safety, had to make the tackle. He splits his time between safety and corner.
Boy, I'll tell you, with these running plays, when you're putting your team, and especially against this defense, into a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3 situation, that whole playbook opens up to you. And I don't care that you're inside the 20-yard line.
You don't think that offensive line is pumped up to get Eddie George some yards? And he has run beautifully in the first half. George again. This time hit at the line, can't go anywhere. Marcus Douglas with the tackle. Has Ray Lewis affected Eddie George physically and mentally?
What can you say? When you've been beaten 5 times in a row, you can say pretty much anything, and you can't argue the fact, well, no, he's not in my head. He's like, oh, well, you just wait for the opportunity to play again, and you get up and you play as hard as you can, and you just hope for a victory and say, well, he's not in my head.
And he's got a smile on his face right now, facing 3rd and about 3. McNair with time, throws intercepted. Ed Reed, the second pick by that secondary Reed, who had 7 during the regular season, returns this for 22 yards. Eddie George hurting on the sideline after trying to make the tackle on the interception return. The frustration evident. He has had a brilliant first half, 11 carries, 44 yards, slammed to the ground on the tackle against Ed Reed. They are looking at his left shoulder. He came off holding his hand. We'll get an update as soon as we can. Baltimore, after the second turnover, starts from its own 29. Jamal Lewis against the #1 rush defense in the NFL has done nothing. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, going back to that turnover, Steve McNair told us last night how aware he was of safety Ed Reed. The way he reads patterns reminds him of Rod Woodson, always in the right place at the right time. And in fact, of course, he's matched Rod Woodson's team record with 7 interceptions in the regular season. Steve said he wanted to take advantage of his aggressiveness, but it's burned him twice. In the first quarter, he tried to audible, and of course, that tipped pass.
And Reed is still a work in progress, only his 2nd year, but he's already in the Pro Bowl. And Jamal Lewis stuffed at the line of scrimmage again. The 31-yard line, by the way, is the best field position the Ravens have had yet in this game, their own 31.
Well, you can't say it's all the Tennessee defense. The Ravens have generated nothing on offense. They had a chance to convert a first down. Todd Heap dropped a pass 2 drives ago, but that's as close as they've come to converting anything. You cannot ask Anthony Wright to convert 3rd and 9 against the best defense in football.
And they are still looking for their first down of the ball game. Chester Taylor, number 29, comes in. And they'll whistle the play dead on 3rd and 9. And the news is horrible for Tennessee.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 86 of the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
Dislocated left shoulder is the preliminary report on Eddie George. He's going to the locker room for x-ray.
Now, let me tell you, the thing that you lose with Eddie George, and you put a Chris Brown into play, is you lose the veteran experience, but more importantly, it's the pass blocking, and it's the chipping, and it's the helping out of Steve McNair that gets lost, not necessarily just the running ability of the back.
3rd and 14, the Ravens unable to generate anything offensively. Wright dumps it off, and that one is complete on the short toss to Chester Taylor. Keith Bullock covers him easily. They'll have to punt it away.
I'll tell you what the problem with Anthony Wright is having, and that's reading defenses. And what the Tennessee Titans are doing, you hear about 8 men in the box. Well, they're bringing safeties and corners up, and they're not necessarily there to blitz. But as soon as they see him take that short drop, bang, they're gone.
The other problem is 3rd and 14, Paul.
Well, yeah. There aren't many plays for 3rd and 14.
I was just going to say, I think the yardage might have a little bit to do with it, too.
Here's one for 3rd and 14. It's punt.
Mason is deep. Zastoville, another good punt. Mason from the 24. Slips one tackler. Demps takes him down at the 33. There's also a flag. A wicked hitting game so far, and Steve McNair, the co-MVP of the league, has already turned it over twice to that opportunistic Ravens defense.
During the return, illegal blocking it back. Number 23 of the return team. That's a 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Chris Brown, big hole off the right side, and Brown up across the 30 to the 34-yard line.
What you lose with Eddie George's experience and overall play at the running back position, what you gain with Chris Brown is an explosiveness and some speed that this offense doesn't have. Now, Eddie George can make that cut and probably only get about 7-8 yards. Chris Brown can take stuff a lot further.
Eddie George in the locker room being x-rayed for a possible separated shoulder. It may be on the back of Chris Brown. Back in Baltimore, 7-7. Tennessee against the Ravens.
Now, the other thing, the Tennessee Titans don't need to change anything that they've done on offense. It still moves Steve McNair around, have him be a little more careful, a little more conscious with the football, but that would be the only emphasis that you could make.
And get back to the big tight end. Kinney, number 88.
Steve McNair, who had been so protective of the ball in his last 74 throws, has been picked off twice in 8 tries in this game. Now McNair wants to run and is drilled by Lewis at the 35. All-pro against all-pro.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Now, you talk about Ray Lewis and how he's going to hit you and all the things that happen, but I'm going to tell you the guy with a lot of guts, and that's Steve McNair. Now, Ray Lewis is dropping back. He sees him running. You think he's going to back down? Look at Steve McNair. He popped him with a shoulder. Now, I know Ray Lewis got the better end of that deal, but Steve McNair, that will not back away from anybody.
6 first-half tackles for Ray Lewis. Brown lowers his head, gets to the 40.
Ray Lewis is now playing in a 3-4 defense. He played in a 4-3 for years up until this year. Career highs in interceptions as well as tackles. What the 3-4 allows him to do is he doesn't have to just stand behind 2 big guys in the middle. He can move around. He has a lot more liberty to be able and to freelance within this offense. Mike Nolan does a good job of giving him a chance to pattern read as well as read the offensive lineman. He has that ability because he has people to back him up in the 3-4.
3rd and 4. Approaching 7 minutes to go first half. 4-man rush. McNair throws on the run. That's going to be short of a first down. up at the 43-yard line as Wycheck made the catch, and Chad Williams made the solid tackle.
Yeah, this is, you know, it's good to go to your go-to guy, but Wycheck is not far enough down the field.
I want to tell you something. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh ran a fake punt against them for 81 yards and a touchdown. It's only 4th and 1. Jeff Fisher is a pretty darn good gambling kind of coach. And you can see that the Ravens basically have their defense on the field still.
Hendrick is into punt. Brightful from the 18, nowhere to go, buried at the 20. 39-yard kick. Back to M&T Bank Stadium. Ravens take over at the 20. They have not gotten out of their own territory. Carter just came in and leveled Anthony Wright. He had a free run at him.
Somebody forgot to block this guy. I mean, you know, Carter's pretty big. Look at 93. He's dancing. Kevin Carter, nobody touched him. And you've got to block a lineman. Before you block anybody else, block a lineman. Look at this. Nobody, absolutely nobody, even looked at him. Now, number 39, Picard in the backfield, he was there, but he never looked. I'll tell you what, I really wouldn't look over there.
He didn't want him.
No, I wouldn't look over there.
Looking for a smaller guy, a guy with a smaller number.
290 with a full head of steam. Draw play, Lewis. First time tonight he's had a chance to run it all. Takes it across the 20 to the 21. Good solid tackle by Andre Dyson.
Basically, the Tennessee Titans have dominated this football game, on offense in particular in the first half. And Paul, you made the point. Sooner or later, you have to expect the Ravens are going to come up with some kind of a play. But Tennessee cannot continue to keep this game close. And you see the job that their defense has done rushing. Only 18 yards rushing for Baltimore. That's fine, but that could swing in the second half. Tennessee's got to start taking advantage of the great field positions that they've had.
And they're facing a Tennessee defense best in the NFL on third down in the last 5 years. You just don't convert third downs against these guys. Except now, Taylor across midfield for the first time in the ball game, a gain of 30.
The credit for that play goes to the offensive line. Tennessee brought more than the normal 4 rushers, and the offensive line did an excellent job. Of course, it's the biggest offensive line in football. Here, they're bringing 8. Look at the big clog up in the middle. What a nice job by Mike Flynn and Mulatalo and Benny Anderson. The center and the 2 guards did an excellent job giving Anthony Wright a chance to step up and throw the ball.
Boys, that's so correct, because you had 2 guys in the middle block 3 people. When you can put 2 guys to take out 3, you've got time.
First down of the ball game for Tennessee, or excuse me, for the Ravens. Heap, nice catch and a perfect throw to the 35.
Oh, he got behind Tank Williams, and Tank didn't have a chance. You talk about the perfect throw. This throw by Anthony Wright to Todd Heap was right on target. It's to the outside. Tank Williams is number 25. Here comes the ball up over the top. Look, the linebacker can't get up. Look where Tank Williams is. He's to the inside. Heap is to the outside. That's the perfect throw.
Do not discount Anthony Wright. He is a very athletic quarterback. He has a big arm. He has produced some big games, especially in the come-from-behind variety. Right on the roll. He wants to run. 25 and out of bounds.
The thing about Anthony Wright is he provides something that Kyle Bowler does as the other quarterback on the roster, and that's athletic ability to get outside. Orlando Brown, his right tackle, caved in the entire side. Kevin Carter was looking for another big shot, and he got outside of him.
He is a free agent out of South Carolina. He was with Dallas, had to replace the injured Troy Aikman, went 1-4. He has bounced around the NFL, started with Pittsburgh. Now he ends up with Baltimore. He's been 5-2 as a starter. Lewis lumbers for a couple down to the 23. And there's a flag down at the end of the play.
Yeah, this is the stupidity of Zeus, the right tackle. Orlando Brown, number 78. You know that now his players, now he's pushing his own players around. Orlando Brown's temper has gotten him in more problems.
And he levels Javon Curse, Joe. I mean, this is absolutely stupid. You're downfield. Look at this. This is after the play. Now watch. He just takes Javon Curse and throws him on the ground. Well, Javon, come on.
After the play is over. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 78 of the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty, and it will be second down.
And you can see how upset he is now. Curse did a flop, but he was still pushed.
But he was pushing his own teammates around, and give Brian Billick a lot of credit. This is like calling a 20-second timeout in basketball. Bring him over to the sideline. It's Brian's job to calm him down a little bit and try and do it.
Well, we said Javon Curse is just rolling around on the ground. I'll tell you what, he limped off the field. Javon Curse got hurt. And what Brown is a big man. He threw him on the ground.
He is nasty.
And this is not like a 20-second timeout in basketball. There aren't any 360-pound guys playing that game. Wright throws in rhythm. Inside the 30, Terry Jones Jr., the backup tight end. And here comes Orlando back in the game.
They just, the reason they took him off the field is that, just tell him exactly what he did wrong. And, of course, the league will fine him for that, I would think. And calm him down a little bit. They need these two. They've got two of the best tackles in the game. Jonathan Ogden, they talk about him, number 75. They say they never worry about the left side of their defense or offensive line because nobody is going to beat Jonathan Ogden.
I don't think they have to worry about the right side either.
6'8", 360. Heap out in the flat, submarine there at the 25 by Dyson. And we'll give you the AFC Pro Bowl starters. Matt Stover, his season's numbers, will try a 43-yard field goal. In the playoffs, Stover 2 out of 4 career from 40 to 49. The holder is Zastadil. Stover won last week's game against Pittsburgh with a long field goal in overtime. And drills this one. And the Ravens, with their first show of offense in the entire ball game, move into Tennessee territory and take the lead.
The other thing that was impressive is they overcame the big 15-yard personal foul that was called on Zeus, Orlando Brown, their right tackle. Now it's up to Tennessee to start mounting some more offense. And I would say if Eddie George comes in and play, he's not going to be anywhere near as effective as he was in the first quarter of this football game.
Orlando Brown is the guy you may remember who was hit in the eye by Jeff Triplett with the penalty flag, which was weighted on the bottom, lost his vision, was out of football for 3 years. He had such a temper in Cleveland that they sent him to a psychiatrist who told him he wanted to have him put a fishbowl in his locker because it would calm him down. And that's why I quit majoring in psychology.
His mom in high school taught mythology, and she's the one that decided he should be Zeus.
Tell you one other thing that happened in this last drive. This last drive has now made Tennessee aware of Anthony Wright. They were ignoring Anthony Wright for about a quarter and a half, and now they better not ignore him anymore.
And that should help Jamal Lewis.
Exactly.
10-7 Baltimore. Wade Ritchie, second in the NFL in touchbacks. Booms one to McCareins, who will bring it out of the end zone. Can't get past the 20. Let's go to Susie.
Well, Mike, when Jeff Fisher announced to the team that Steve McNair was the MVP, he also presented game balls to the training staff because they have so much to do with it. I mean, we know the injuries McNair has played through. This year, he has a cracked bone spur in his left ankle, playing with a strained right calf. Earlier this season, a dislocated finger. Last year, he was so injured he couldn't even practice for the last month of the season. And talk about tough. How about Eddie George? He'll return soon as well.
And they'll need him, Susie. And McNair and George, the heart of this offense. Draw play, Brown. Gets 5.
You just see Chris Brown running differently towards the line of scrimmage than an Eddie George would. As soon as he starts to feel and sense contact, you see him sort of cringe in a little bit. He runs upright, and if he's running upright and Ray Lewis is on the other side, he will not be upright very long.
Clock is running. Tennessee has 2 timeouts left at its disposal. Another draw play. Brown. Ray Lewis is in on the stop, along with Riddick Parker.
They ran 2 draws, and what happens when you run draws, all you do is give the defense time to get prepared for it. Here comes the draw. Now look at how much time it takes to run that draw. When you do that, you've got Lyman, Riddick Parker downfield, Ray Lewis upfield.
Jeff Fisher's doing this because they're not trying to score. What they're doing is they're trying to go into halftime at 10-7 in this ball game.
And Baltimore's not trying to stop the clock either.
Baltimore has 3 timeouts, and Tennessee has 2.
McNair drops it off to Brown, and Brown dragged down by Lewis. 8 tackles in the first half for Ray Lewis.
Now the Ravens take one of their timeouts.
Yeah, because now they're going to try and block the punt. That's the only reason why they would do it at this time.
Ray Lewis is all over the field. We know that, but he's covering Brown, the back coming out of the backfield. But the thing about Ray Lewis, you see where he is all the time. You see all the things that he does. And he's always in a position. But when he tackles you, you go down. You don't need 2 people.
And the reason why I think he's the best that ever played the game is because he combines the speed, the power, the hands in pass coverage, the athletic ability to be able to go sideline to sideline. There have been some great linebackers, but I don't think there hasn't been one that has that rare combination that he has.
But what he said, though, is, the best linebacker. I don't think there's any question. He wants to be the best player that's ever played the game of football. And we're talking about all positions.
Keep an eye on number 20 for Baltimore, Ed Reed. He is the punt blocking specialist. It's on the right side. Can't get in there, and they kick it away. Fair catch made at the 29 with only 22 seconds to go after a 42-yard kick. Ray Lewis mic'd up in Week 10 against the Rams.
They think they ready. They don't know nothing about us yet. Walk with that swagger, boy. Walk with that swagger. Let's make them play football tonight. They're going to have to play football soon. We got to believe in this, man. We got to believe in this. Touchdown. Fire! Here we come. Here we come. It's a man's game now. It might not be pretty, but they got to come see about us.
On the field, off the field, it doesn't matter. You wonder if he could possibly have any adrenaline left when it's over. Chester Taylor. One of the defenders went for the strip, didn't make a tackle, and Taylor was able to get 10 more yards.
That was Javon Curse. Javon Curse, all he did was, it was almost like a punch to try to knock the ball out, and now they're in position. Watch number 90, Javon Curse. He's going to read the play. Jonathan Ogden, first of all, Javon Curse can't see around Jonathan Ogden. He's seeing nothing but purple. Now watch Javon. He sees the play, and what he tries to do now is just knock the ball out. Look at his punch. And the worst part about it, he didn't even hit the arm with the ball in it.
Well, Chester Taylor moved it to the other hand just as Javon started to load it. If you're the Baltimore Ravens right now, what you want to do is you want to try and hit a pass 15, 18 yards. Give Wade Ritchie, who has a very good leg, and he handles the long stuff. Zassadil handles the shorter stuff. I'd say within 55 yards, Wade Ritchie has a chance to be able to make a field goal.
And don't be afraid to throw it in the middle, because you have time.
And the timeout.
Anybody can take a timeout. Anybody.
Anthony Wright has hit his last 7 passes. Pressured by Carter. Using a lot of time. Now he throws it away with 1 second on the clock.
Take a knee.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Anthony Wright, Kevin Carter is after him. You think he would have had him? Anthony Wright just shows everything. Here's Steve McNair.
He looked good.
I like the way he moves around. They look, they kind of look.
Well, Anthony Wright, Steve McNair, both of them getting outside the pocket, challenging the defenses. And I think that's going to be a big thing in the second half, is containing these quarterbacks.
They're going to throw the big one.
3 Tennessee Titans are back at the goal line. Wright unloads deep, tip, almost caught, still loose. And may have been intercepted, and it is. Picked off by Dyson. That's the half. Welcome back to Baltimore, everybody, in a 10-7 Baltimore halftime lead. Joe, you talked about the defense against Jamal Lewis at the beginning of the broadcast. They have done a great job against Jamal.
Through most of the first half, that's exactly what the Titans have done defensively. They've held them to only 12 yards. But at the end of the half, we saw Anthony Wright throw a little bit more. If Anthony Wright can have success, it looks like Jamal will get a chance to run a bit more.
McCareins on the return. Cut down at the 17-yard line. Well, with Jamal Lewis held in check, they're trying to put pressure on the quarterback. What about the other side of the ball?
Well, we talked about Ray Lewis and we talked about Eddie George. Now, Eddie George, had a few pretty good runs, but when you look at Ray Lewis, you know that he's going to be all over the field. And he 8 tackles in the first half alone. I would imagine he'll have at least that many in the second half.
Oh yeah, I think it's Ray Lewis is going to have to control Steve McNair more than the running game, though.
And Eddie George with a dislocated shoulder back in the lineup at tailback.
This is one of those games, Michael, where you're never hurt. It's a playoff game. You're not hurt. I don't care what your injury is, you're not hurt.
You may not be hurt, but your effectiveness is going to be questioned, I think, and that's going to be the big thing with Eddie George. How effective can he be?
There will be no review since it is not a reviewable situation.
There you go.
Jeff Triplett making the call, and Tennessee will start from its own 18-yard line. George ran very effectively, very hard in the first half until he hurt his shoulder.
Steve McNair needs to go back to play action and throw the short routes.
Eddie George. Now, anybody who has ever had a dislocated joint of any kind knows the pain involved. This guy had a dislocated shoulder in the first half. He's back in there.
Well, you see he's wearing a harness. The black thing that's hanging outside of his shirt is a harness that goes around the shoulder, around the torso of his body to basically hold the shoulder in place. What amazes me is on that play, he held the ball in his left hand. When they helped him up off the ground, they pulled him up with his left arm.
Second and 7. McNair, a short throw, and he skips it incomplete. Let's go to Susie.
Well, I spoke to both coaches at halftime. Brian Billick said, obviously very impressed with the way the Titans defense was shutting down Jamal. But he said once they committed to stop the run, they knew they had to make the plays outside. Then it became a matter of trying to get into a rhythm. Too many drop balls, but you saw at the end of that first half, they finally started to get it going. Now, Jeff Fisher said he's really just concerned with that time of possession. Keep the ball away from the Ravens. He knew his defense could shut down Jamal.
Boy, and they have done a beautiful job of it too, Susie. Tyrone Calico, a receiver with great speed, is in for Tennessee on 3rd and long. McNair throws on the run, almost picked again. Will Demps had a shot at it and couldn't get it.
I think Steve McNair is hurt. I think he hurt his right calf or right foot on the throw prior to this one. He was moving it around on the previous play to this one. He makes the throw. You'll see the throw. The throw goes into the ground. I mean, he really gets nothing on it. And it's his right leg, that right calf. See how he looked down and he's sort of playing with it? Remember, the calf was a problem to him before, and he looked very ineffective and not able to move on the last one.
Right calf and left ankle. Hendrick off the side of his foot. Gets a great bounce. And will roll all the way inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. Ravens football with a 3-point lead and 13:50 to go, third quarter. Jamal Lewis, the NFL rushing champion, held to 12 yards in the first half. His worst first half performance since the last time he played the Titans in 2002.
What do you think the odds were that at halftime Anthony Wright would have 19 yards rushing and Jamal Lewis 12?
Not very good. Play action by Wright. Heap, what a catch.
Oh, what a throw, too.
Lance Schulters was right there, but that ball was perfectly
Anthony
thrown.
Wright's ability to throw the football is really the wild card for the Baltimore Ravens. You know what you get in the running game. You know what you get on defense. But can Anthony Wright make plays with his arm? Does a nice job of firing this rocket, and that's why this man's going to the Pro Bowl, Todd Heap. And he really hasn't been a part of the offense. Only caught one ball last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Second and short. Wright throws again. Taylor makes the catch. First down up to the 32. The tackle by Samari Rolle. Let's go to Susie.
Well, to answer Joe's question, I asked Todd Heap before the game, where have you been? And he said, really, it's been all about Jamal. As long as Jamal is killing the opponent, they're not going to throw a lot of passes. And again, it's about rhythm. If you're not throwing a lot of passes, it's tough to get into that rhythm. And he said, yes, it has been frustrating because we do have the talent to be a good passing team. You can see him starting to get off a little bit tonight.
And he's going to his second Pro Bowl, Susie, in 3 years, is Todd Heap. Jamal Lewis. Well, there was a hold at the corner, and they caught it, too. This one will come back. And it was Terry Jones Jr., the tight end, who had a big handful of it looked like Rocky Boyman's jersey.
Hey, you're not allowed to grab him by the jersey and pull him out. You know, they finally get Jamal Lewis on the outside where they get him on a corner.
Holding number 82 of the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. It's still first down.
And Terry Jones Jr. is, I mean, they're starting to move the ball, and when you struggle on offense like they did in the first quarter and halfway through the second, when you start to struggle, you can't afford to make these kind of stupid mistakes. On the right of your screen, you'll see number 82. Now that's holding. But when you throw him to the ground, that's holding. What?
There are the penalty numbers for the game. They have not been a huge factor. Four-man rush. Wright almost picked off. Dyson made a break on the ball, got a hand on it.
Back to your point about running the football, Paul, when you're able to throw like Anthony Wright did at the end of the second quarter and here coming out in the beginning of the third, Jamal Lewis will get an opportunity to have some bigger runs. Everybody knows that this offense is built on Jamal Lewis, but Anthony Wright, you see 10 for 16, doing a nice job of managing this football game.
And if you're wondering, Kyle Bowler is healthy, has been for a couple of weeks. Brian Billick said it would not be fair to either Bowler or Anthony Wright or this ball club to make a change of quarterback right now. Lewis got a block on the corner this time and takes it to the 34.
You give Jamal Lewis a little bit of running room, and he's going to pick up 6 yards or 7 yards on the play. Take a look at Jamal Lewis, 31. When he gets the outside, watch him turn now and get himself square up in his shoulders are square. He gets in the hole, and now it's difficult to bring him down. And it took 2.
Boy, there's a real battle going on between Orlando Brown, the right tackle of the Ravens, and Kevin Carter. You're talking about 2 big men going at it.
Right, plenty of time from the shotgun. This is tipped and incomplete. Crowd wants a flag, but Samari Rolle did a great job on defense.
You know, we haven't really had time to talk about Samari Rolle tonight, but this guy is an outstanding corner. I mean, Samari Rolle can play that position.
6 interceptions, and normally when you play a lot of man-to-man coverage like the Tennessee Titans do, you don't see the corners with a lot of interceptions. Defensive guys get interceptions when you play a lot of zones because you're locked up on guys. Tells you how good his hands are.
Mason back waiting on the punt from Sasterdale. Another good kick. Mason, a very late fair catch signal at the 20. 46-yard punt, no return.
You know something, Michael? The last time these two teams met was 2000 in the divisional game. The Titans scored the first touchdown, went up 7-0. And they did not score another touchdown in that ball game.
That was the last time in the playoffs, right?
Right.
McNair, short set. Calico up to the 33. They think this kid has a tremendous future. Been bothered by a knee injury this year.
He's faster than anybody.
Well, you know, and those are the kind of throws you make to try and get Gary Baxter to come up and bite a little bit and then run Calico by him. You see Baxter bail on him. Calico, a big guy, he's nursing a little bit of a knee problem as well.
Eddie George across the 35 to about the 36. The Titans dominating this game statistically. Their average start their own 30-yard line. It was even more impressive earlier in the game. The time of possession, a 5-minute edge over the Ravens.
Means nothing.
No, it doesn't.
Well, they were 12-4, and they were the second best team in football with time of possession. As long as their offense is on the field, Jamal Lewis is sitting and watching.
Mason lines up in the slot this time. He's been quiet in this game. McNair throwing underneath to Aaron Kinney, the tight end, to the 41-yard line. In there.
As long as they have possession, Anthony Wright's on the bench.
I think that's your biggest concern now. You're right.
Yeah. You know, I remember you talk so much about Jamal Lewis, and they've shut him down. But you've got to like what Anthony Wright has done. And I like now what Steve McNair is doing. Throw the short passes. Those are the guys that are open.
Don't let it get tipped up again, because the Ravens are very opportunistic when the ball is tipping around.
3rd and a yard. Eddie George fights for the yardage. He is taken down right at the sticks.
You know who missed him? Ray Lewis in the backfield, and he's mad at himself. He's looking over at the bench. He's on one knee. He's not hurt. He's just mad. Eddie George does one thing he shouldn't do, and that's try to break this thing to the outside. Watch Ray Lewis, 52. Boom. He's got a piece of him. He doesn't get all of them, and he's not happy with it. Eddie George feels him on the inside, gets rid of him. And Ray Lewis, look at this. I don't miss tackles. I do not miss tackles. Don't ever come back here again.
You know what was impressive, too, is Eddie George used his left arm. His left arm to shield off Ray Lewis.
And that's the one with the dislocated shoulder.
Eddie's been putting up some pretty good numbers in this game.
Joey really has 51 yards. That doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you're playing against a brilliant defense, and they knew they had to run him at least some to open up the passing game. 1st and 10. George again. Eddie George across midfield into Baltimore territory. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, he is truly one of the NFL's workhorse backs. In fact, the only back in NFL history to carry the ball at least 300 times in each of the last 8 seasons. Next longest, Walter Payton at 6 seasons. And what makes it so impressive is Eddie's style, that no-nonsense north-south, and he's a big guy, so he takes all those blows.
4-time Pro Bowler. We asked him earlier in the week, where are you at this stage of your career? He says, I'm in my prime, and he is showing it to Baltimore right now. McNair with time, wants it all. McCareins! Touchdown!
Oh, did he do a nice job of playing the ball. Gary Baxter just basically ran himself right out of the route and coverage. Well, you talk about adjusting to the football. McCareins with his 8th touchdown, 7 in the regular. Look at him come underneath. He just does a terrific job. Watch, he gets on top. Now he looks back for the ball. Baxter loses it up in the lights or somewhere.
and McCareins just slides right underneath him.
Yeah, you got Baxter. He's running full speed, Joe, and when he finally turns to locate the ball, he's still running full speed. He can't stop.
We saw him run the hitch against him with Calico. They come back with McCareins for the big one.
McCareins, who set career highs this year with 47 catches for 813 yards. Eddie George and the Titans trying to break a 5-game losing streak to the Baltimore Ravens. They just helped their cause with a 79-yard drive that took 6 plays and 3 minutes and 16 seconds off the clock. McNair to McCareins for the touchdown. And it's 14-10 Tennessee. Chester Taylor and Lamont Brightful are deep for the kick. Taylor from the 11. Taken down shy of the 30. Tennessee came in with the best record among the wild card teams, 12-4, actually better than the Ravens, 10-6. But because Baltimore was the division winner, Tennessee is on the road, and Jamal Lewis, who's been held in check by the Tennessee run defense, hoping to get something started from his own 29. Anthony Wright with time, and he airs it out for Marcus Robinson. Caught it, but I think he was out of bounds.
Way out of bounds.
Anthony Wright talked last Friday, talked about throwing deep balls. He said you throw it 40 and 5. That means you throw it 40 yards down the field and 5 yards in from the out of bounds, from the sidelines. That time he threw it 40 yards downfield, and it winds up landing almost out of bounds. He's got to throw this ball inside more and give Marcus Robinson a chance to go up against Andre Dyson.
And Robinson, who was virtually invisible until Anthony Wright came into the lineup, has had a huge second half of the season. He's been the big play guy. Right out in the flat to Lewis. Nice quick move to get some running room, and then he is belted down. I mean, he was drilled by Robert Smith, the defensive tackle, chasing the play.
You know, when you come back and you're chasing the play, Robert Smith, number 98, is a lineman. Jamal Lewis gets the ball on the outside. Good move inside. But then Robert Smith, what? Left side, left side, left side. Now, bang.
Oh.
He's already set up for you.
And that's a hallmark of both these defenses. Their defensive linemen hustling downfield.
3rd and 4, big play for the Ravens. They would love to keep the drive alive. And Wright intended for Heap, incomplete. They wanted a flag on Lamont Thompson. They won't get it.
Oh, and just, you know, when you're on the sideline like that, just keep your mouth shut. You already stopped the guy. There's no flag. You covered him. Everybody else get away and shut up. This was supposed to be a quick pass out to the right, and he throws this, and they're talking about pass interference. Well, there isn't. Lamont Thompson is there. Okay, now the play is over. Nothing happened. And all the big mouths on the sidelines that aren't playing jump in.
Mason has to backpedal for this one, back to the 11. Trying to get to the outside, turns the corner at the 25. There's a flag down after a return of 16. Another beautiful punt by Zastudil. That was 54 yards. And Mason's slow to get up.
And I'll tell you, Demps is slow to get up, who is the starting free safety.
Now the officials led by Jeff Triplett.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 80 of the return team. That's a 10-yard penalty. It'll be a first down.
That foul called on Darrell Hill.
I'll tell you, this is a game that is really played on the line of scrimmage again. We see enough of them. When you see a score like this, 14-10, you know that the defensive lines and the offensive lines are really going at each other.
Eddie George playing with a dislocated left shoulder as the tailback. Runs into a wall at the 20. Jamal Lewis gained over 2,000 yards. Eddie George this year 1,031, but it's been Eddie George's advantage in this playoff game so far. George was 61 yards rushing, almost 4 yards a carry. Jamal Lewis has been held to 23 yards.
And this Tennessee team, they've lost 5 straight times to the Ravens, and in those losses, Eddie George is only averaging 55 yards a game.
George this time off the right side for a couple.
But the thing about Eddie George having only a 55-yard average in previous games is Steve McNair did not have the offensive weapons and receivers that he has outside. It was all about Frank Wycheck and Eddie George in the previous meetings. Now he has the outside receivers to help.
Third and 6. Chris Brown, the tailback for Steve McNair. Brown will get the call. Fighting for yardage, reaches the 29. That will be a first down. Whoa, what a nice call. That's the second time they've crossed him up.
I'll tell you what is amazing about Chris Brown. Joe, he runs straight up, but when he sees a tackler, watch him dip and unload. He's going to come up into the hole. Now what? Doom. He dips, he unloads on Ray Lewis, and picks up the first down.
We talked
right
about
here, Joe. Watch. Boom. That little dip, and it picked him up the next 3 yards.
A little bit similar to Eddie George with the way that he runs.
Brown has had 47 yards running the ball today. McNair short set. Won't get much out of this as Hartwell makes the tackle after a gain of about 3.
One thing about the Tennessee Titans, when they have the ball, Joe, and they need to move the clock, they can move the clock by throwing it.
Yeah, that's a very important thing, because if you throw the football, the big thing is the receivers hold on to it. It's fine. If not, you come up 2nd and 10. And you're right, Paul. When you look at the time of possession that they've had, and yet they haven't had a lot of running. Eddie George has only had 2 games of 100 yards or more this year. You know it's getting done by the wide receiver.
2nd and 6. Brown hit in the backfield by Ray Lewis the second time. He has made a tackle for a loss.
Well, about 5 minutes ago, he missed one on Eddie George. Well, this one he didn't miss. It's Chris Brown coming to the outside. This guy, you know, he's going to miss you once. But again, I said, don't come back here again. Here he comes. He's going right for Brown. He hits him right at the knees and down. Look at his eyes. And the one thing he told us a few games ago was, I always tackle with my eyes open because I want to see the pain in their face when I hit them.
11 tackles for the all-pro linebacker. 3rd and 7. Draw play. Brown. And Lewis will help hold him up just shy of the sticks. The first hit made by Tom Knight. He saved the first down, and Lewis cleaned up.
I like the calls that Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, is making. He's running when the Ravens expect him to throw, and he's play-actioning when they expect him to run. I mean, I think he really has this Raven defense, and Mike Nolan, the Raven defensive coordinator, guessing just a little bit.
He has called an exceptional game so far and has a 14-10 lead in this one as time wears away in the 3rd quarter. Hendrick will punt to Brightful. Sky high. And Brightful will make a fair catch, but all the way back at the 16-yard line.
He gave it earlier this year.
One of the players said, you mean in Houston? He says, it better be. That's where they're playing the game. Lewis on the toss, a little trickery, trying to get him outside. Samari Rolle wasn't buying any of it.
That really isn't Jamal Lewis's strong suit. Jamal Lewis has to bounce up inside and then work himself to the next level. Just to try and get him to turn the corner against this Tennessee defense doesn't work. They get Keith Bullock, number 53, inside, but you still have to deal with Samari Rolle. And I think this is the one area that he has really, really excelled. He's always been a good pass coverer, but now as a run tackler, he's done a good job.
Lewis totally held in check by this #1 rushing defense in the NFL. More pressure on Anthony Wright. He's back to throw for Taylor. Incomplete, overthrown by a step.
Jonathan Ogden was the first player taken when this franchise moved to Baltimore. It was between Jonathan Ogden and Lawrence Phillips. And I think they made the right choice.
Ravens facing third and long. Wright stumbles coming out. Under pressure, throws it away. And that time, Curse was the guy applying the pressure. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, I talked to him before the game. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's looking for a new contract, and he said playing against Jonathan Ogden is the best way to prove yourself. But he knows he's the best in the business. And he said, just like you guys were talking about, the key is that Ogden stays so calm. He said he wants to try to put some stress on him tonight, but Ogden has certainly had the best of him. He said he doesn't see Curse as being quite as explosive as he used to be.
I think Ogden is stress-proof at 6'9", 340. Mason retreats for the punt. Across the 40, still on his feet at the 45. Jerry Jones Jr. takes him out. It's a return of 12 after a punt of 52.
No flag.
Tennessee continues their theme from the first half, and that's having better field position than the Baltimore Ravens. But remember, this half looks exactly like the first half. Tennessee went down, scored a touchdown. Then the Raven defense came back, got them back into the game. The score at the end of the half was Ravens 10, Tennessee 7. I'm sure the Tennessee Titans don't want to see that repeated.
The only thing different has been the mistake Steve McNair made with those 2 interceptions, one of which cost him 7 points.
Stay out of throwing the ball in the middle of the field, because once you throw it in there are too many hands in there.
They start from the 45. Eddie George hit in the backfield, gets back to the line of scrimmage. And we can't tell you the level of admiration that you've got to have for a guy like Eddie George, playing in pain like he is, against a great run defense to start with. He's just giving it everything he's got.
Well, you remember when we talked to Eddie yesterday, and we were talking about all the games he's played consecutively. And I said, okay, how many of them were you hurt in these you didn't think he could have played in? And he started to laugh because there were a lot of games that he really shouldn't have played in, and he did.
It wasn't games, it was years.
2nd and 10. George. Nice hole off the left side, and Eddie George picks up a couple of more with a stiff arm. First down.
Don't you? I mean, this guy's hurt, folks. They put a brace on his left shoulder because he got hurt. And watch him come through the hole. Now, the blocking is absolutely superb. But once he gets through the hole, now watch his face. His head's up, boom. He takes Reed, he tries to push him out of the way, which he does, and picks up the first down.
He said the only way he can stop people from asking him is Ray Lewis in your head to come out and have a big game. 19 carries, 74 yards through 3 quarters. Jeff Fisher's club, 29 straight games on the road. They have won when they held the lead going into the 4th quarter. It's the longest streak in the NFL since 1984. The next longest right now is 11.
They need 7 here if they want to win it.
McNair to throw, first down from the 44 under pressure, and throws it away. After 3 quarters of play, here in the playoff game, the rushing yards overwhelmingly in favor of the Titans. Eddie George and Chris Brown have outdueled Jamal Lewis. Time of possession, the advantage almost 12 minutes.
And on that play, Steve McNair hurt his left ankle a little bit. You see him limping to the line of scrimmage.
Eddie George for a couple.
Flag down. They're going to be holding by the offensive line.
And it's tough to limp when your left leg hurts and your right leg hurts as well.
You take turns.
Well, if they both hurt, he should be walking straight.
He is slowly.
Holding number 77 in the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Justin Hartwig, the starting center.
When you look back at the past Raven teams that Steve McNair was on. The last 3 years, he averaged about 415 yards a year running the football. He only has 138 in this entire season, so he hasn't run very much, and it's hurt their running game.
And there is veteran Neil O'Donnell, who played a week ago after missing the whole season. He was cut just before the start of the campaign, played like he'd never been out. Brown stuffed at midfield. Kelly Gregg in on another tackle.
You know, you look at him, you say, okay, you got 2nd down and 20, and you're going to run the ball up into the middle again.
You see Steve McNair, number 9 in white. He gets caught in that wash in the middle, and that ankle of his just sort of gives way on him. And now he's really moving around gingerly. I mean, if you're the Ravens, I think you have to go after him. You can't leave him back there just to move around and try and pick up 17 yards.
3rd and a mile. McNair trying to get away, throws on the run, incomplete. Riddick Parker putting on the pressure, and McNair barely able to get out of there.
That time they didn't need to bring pressure. They just rushed 4 guys. Here come the big 4. Now there's Parker. Relentless in his pursuit. Makes him get rid of the football. He's trying. What he's doing is just getting his feet out of the way so it doesn't get stepped on. He's hurt.
Yes, he is.
He's probably at about 70% right now on that ankle.
Hendrick to kick. Lamont Brightful waits at the 10. High and short. Brightful will let it go, and the Tennessee Titans will be able to down it inside the 5. The Ravens now have to start at their own 2.
I'd throw it up. I would. I'd throw it up.
And he's back to throw from the end zone. Heap. And the crowd wants a flag, and they get it. As Heap was kept from the ball by Peter Sermon. It's not face guarding, but you can't run into the receiver and prevent him from catching it.
Well, I'll tell you, now wait a minute. They're talking this thing over again, but it's Peter Sermon.
They're going to call offensive pass interference. They're thinking about making this offensive pass interference.
No, here they go.
The pass was touched by the defender before the contact occurred. Therefore, there is no pass interference. It is 2nd down, incomplete pass.
Whoa. Okay. Peter Sermon is number 59. He's on Todd Heap. This ball is thrown right down the middle. Sermon's got a man-to-man. First of all, he's holding him there. But here comes the ball, and Sermon hits the ball before. Well, actually, there is, if you look at this realistically.
Sermon's pushing him with his left hand before he makes the ball. That ball was not tipped. That ball was not tipped at all.
It got through to Heap.
It got all the way through. Heap got his hand on it. No, that's a bad whatever the explanation is, it's going to be insufficient for Brian.
And what a huge play it would have been for the Ravens. As it is, they're still backed up at their own 2, and Lewis trying to get him a little breathing room, pounds it out near the 10.
See, I think they can still take a shot in the middle of the football field with Todd Heap. I think Todd Heap against the linebackers of the Tennessee Titans, whether it's Castle, Sermon, or Bullock, is your best matchup in throwing the football.
That 8-yard run was the longest of the game for Jamal Lewis, only 29 yards rushing on 11 carries.
And I think they ought to run the ball here also. It's 3rd down and 2. And there's no reason not to run it.
Right on a little half roll, throws to the sideline. Taylor makes the catch, and it's enough for a 1st down.
Whoa.
I believe that Travis Taylor is the key for the Baltimore Ravens to be successful. You know what you get out of Marcus Robinson. He's come on. Travis Taylor is the guy that's got to make plays like this to keep drives alive. The left knee hits the ground. 1 knee equals a foot. This should be a catch.
Equals 2 feet.
Well, 1.5 feet. And he gets the right foot down anyway before he hits the ground and maintains control of the ball, which is key when you're going out of bounds. But he's got to come up with plays like that to keep this offense on the field. They may only have 3 possessions in this quarter. They're going to have to make something out of this one.
Ravens get out of the shadow of their own goal line. Marcus Robinson taken down by Samari Rolle, gets to the 26. His first catch, and this has been Anthony Wright's go-to guy, the former college teammate at South Carolina.
All right, take a look at the blocking up front. Here it is. I mean, they have a blitz on, but Samari Rolle is playing off of Marcus Robinson. And when you play off, and as big as he is, he's got it. He's already gotten you beat. You've got to, if they're gonna blitz, you got to get up on this guy.
Consecutive first downs for the Ravens. Anthony Wright again. That one's intercepted.
Samari Rolle.
He picked this one off, and it's Titans ball at the 30.
I'll tell you what, Samari Rolle, this is just very good defense. He gets Marcus Robinson, and he's in front of him, and he times this thing perfectly. Look to the left of your screen. You're going to see that Samari Rolle 21 comes around the front of Marcus Robinson and makes the interception. Here it comes. Boom, he reads it. He's quick getting up inside. That ball was late getting there.
I think it was just a great defense, great anticipation and a break on the ball. And you're right, Paul, if you're going to be a hair late, you're going to wind up having to make a tackle somewhere down the line.
During the regular season, Samari Rolle led this club in interceptions with a half dozen. Eddie George. And now the Ravens defense has to dig in. They are already down by 4. They can ill afford to give up another touchdown.
I'll tell you, if Tennessee scores a touchdown, this is over.
Might be.
Because that defense of Tennessee, as you talk about these guys sticking in the entire ball game, they have been sensational. And there's been such great line play on both sides of this ball.
Second down, 8 yards to go. And movement on the right side of the Titans line. Fred Miller looked like he was the first to jump.
False start, 71 in the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And it is the veteran Fred Miller.
Yeah, but once you do that, don't just stand around, because someone's going to knock you down.
Yeah, but he rolled nice. He looked like a little top rolling around,
yeah,
you know?
He rolled
if
nice.
If you're going to go to the ground, put a little rock in it, make it look a little bit normal. Just don't fall down like you're, a load hitting the ground. He looked athletic rolling there.
Second and 13. Eddie George. Guess who?
Boy, they're in each other's face, too. Eddie George gets... You got to understand something. Eddie George said, we are the best of friends. Away from football, we are the best of friends. That Eddie George knows that he's going to be there every time he runs the football. Ray Lewis is going to be there looking at him. Here comes Ray Lewis, back to the outside, bang! I mean, he takes Eddie George down in a heartbeat. Look at Eddie's back in his face saying, keep coming.
Boy, and Eddie's got a right to whoop today. Now 3rd and 12. Brown on the draw. Reached about the 27-yard line, so it would set up perhaps a field goal of 44.
Well, Paul, you talked about before, if they score a touchdown here, it could be over. If they score a field goal, still a 7-point game. And even though Baltimore's offense has really not been able to generate much, it only takes one big play. He had Todd Heap coming out of the end zone on top of Peter Sermon down the middle of the field. So there's plays in the passing game the Ravens just haven't made them.
The oldest kicker in the league will go for the longest field goal of the year, 45 yards, and he got it.
Whoa, whoa.
The inspirational leaders of these respective clubs at work. Eddie George on the sideline, he's rushed for 77 yards today. Ray Lewis for Baltimore has done his job, 15 tackles. Taylor on the return for Baltimore, out near the 30-yard line.
You always mention. Well, I think somebody needs an Air Force right now. The Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
They need to get the ball up in the air, and they need to make some plays. Anthony Wright can't throw the ball close. He had one go out of bounds on Marcus Robinson. He underthrew Todd Heap before. He's got to start hitting some throws down the field.
Wright straight back to throw under pressure, and down he goes. Albert Haynesworth, who was inactive a week ago because he got into a fight on the practice field and mouthed off to Jeff Fisher.
I'll tell you what, this guy here is big and strong. Albert Hainsworth, number 92, just straight up the middle. Look at this. Look at the push, and he pushes the lineman all the way back to the quarterback and makes the play. You know, that's a big man.
And it also, Anthony Wright looked like he might have hurt his ankle a little bit.
And once Hainsworth had him, he was not going any further. Wright straight back, good protection this time. Sideline, Taylor makes the catch. He'll be about a yard shy of a first down. Let's go to Susie.
Anthony Wright may not have the resume, but he plays with a quiet confidence, and he has his teammates' respect. After all, it was him who fueled the turning point in the Ravens season. It was November. They were playing Seattle. They were down by 17 with just 7 minutes to go. He threw 4 second-half touchdowns to Marcus Robinson. Instead of losing 3 straight, they won 5 out of their last 6. Now we'll see if he can do it with the season on the line.
Susie, you're right. And what a great mark they got on that last pass play. It looked like he was at least a yard shy. And they got a first down out of it. And Jamal Lewis is stuffed in the backfield. This Tennessee defense has been brilliant against the run. Keith Bullock led that charge. He's going to the Pro Bowl.
What Fisher said about Keith Bullock yesterday. He said, hey, Keith Bullock, he's going to have to put on his big boy pads for this game here. And Keith Bullock just hits Jamal Lewis in the backfield. Do you know that the Ravens have 11 drives and they've only crossed the 50 once?
And Jamal has been held 100 yards under his season's average. Yikes. They'll whistle this one dead.
That's now put him 5-yard penalty.
Snap, false start, 87 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
That's the wide receiver, Marcus Robinson.
It seems like the Baltimore Ravens offensively just aren't comfortable unless it's 1st and 20, 2nd and 17, 2nd and 15, and Anthony Wright can go back deep and throw it. If you're Matt Cavanaugh, the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, you can basically take and throw everything you have out on 1st and 10 because it's never going to be 1st and 10.
And keep an eye on the clock. We're approaching 7 minutes. How many more times will the Ravens get the ball? Wright throws to Heap, and the Pro Bowl tight end to the 43. It'll bring up 3rd and about 5.
I can tell you this. If they have to punt the ball away, Tennessee winds up with the ball again. Baltimore may not see it.
You're right.
So, I mean, if depending upon what Brian Billick wants to do, this could be 2-down territory for his offense with the clock running down to about 6:40 right now.
Now with this defense.
They have converted only 2 out of 10 third downs in this game. Wright throws a bullet. Heap with another catch. First down at the Tennessee 47-yard line. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what Todd Heap does and why he's a Pro Bowler. The positioning that he gets. There's only one person that can catch the ball when Todd Heap goes down and makes a turn. The safety, Lamont Thompson, has no chance. Look at where he is. His whole body is in front of the ball. Thompson has no chance to get to it.
And Anthony Wright put the ball in the perfect spot. You have to throw the ball away from where the defender starts to take the position. Did a good job.
Heap, who caught only 1 pass in the season finale against Pittsburgh, has had a much better game today. Jamal Lewis running hard, picks up about 3. Keith Bullock makes another tackle. And the clock continues to wind as we approach 5.5 minutes. The longer the Ravens take on this drive and the clock not stopping, this might be their final possession.
Would you say they're in 4-down territory, Paul?
Now? Yes. Absolutely. There's no question about them in 4. Once they cross that 50, they are.
Blitz against Anthony Wright. And that's Terry Jones Jr. And where they mark it, that's going to be another first down.
What you're seeing Anthony Wright do is get into a rhythm, but he's getting into a rhythm with his tight ends. This is where the Ravens feel like they have the matchup. They have the matchup with their tight ends against the linebackers. There's a nice job by Terry Jones Jr.
Samari Rolle is the injured Titan. We have a timeout under 5 minutes left. Here's the way the AFC stacks up. We've got Tennessee and Baltimore right now, the 4 and 5 seeds. And tomorrow, the Denver Broncos in a rematch against the Indianapolis Colts at Indy. New England will play the lowest seeded winner. Kansas City, the other team with a bye, will play the highest seeded winner. And right now, this game hangs very much in the balance.
We saw that first meeting between Denver and Indianapolis just a few weeks ago when the Denver Broncos controlled the ball, much like the Tennessee Titans are doing here, for 45 minutes and kept Peyton Manning on the sideline.
I couldn't believe at the end of that game that Indy had the ball for 15 minutes and 2 seconds.
I know, 45 to 15. Well, it's going to be pretty close here with the Titans, the way they've controlled this game.
Another first down for the Ravens on what could be their last shot at tying this game. Good protection for Wright, goes for the end zone, double coverage, incomplete. Taylor was there, but he was beautifully covered. Samari Rolle and Dyson were both there.
Travis Taylor looks like he launches himself up to knock the ball away. He can't quite get to it. And Lance Schulters and Andre Dyson are the two guys that have a shot at this thing, and he just reaches up and tips it away. Look at this play. Look at him get elevated. Just enough of a distraction so that Schulters can't quite get his eyes and the beat on it. Watch the hand come in front. Whether he gets it or not, he just upsets Schulters' vision.
Tremendous
coverage. It looked like he touched it.
2nd and 10. Wright launches it again. This time for Todd Heap. Touchdown! You've got to hand it to Anthony Wright, 35 yards. He doesn't back off. He's got good receivers, and he throws it up where they can get it.
What a great call by Matt Cavanaugh, the offensive coordinator. They got the matchup they wanted. Tank Williams on Todd Heap. They take that matchup against the corner, but when you get a young, strong safety who's 225 pounds, it's going to have to run down the field. Shoeless Todd Heap making the touchdown reception.
Stover to tie the game. They're on their feet in Baltimore. The Ravens behind Anthony Wright have come back to tie this ball game. Guys, he has done it time after time when this team needed him.
You know, the thing about this is where has Todd Heap been for a while? And then here he is tonight. When he, look at this ball. This ball was thrown absolutely, you couldn't throw it any better. Todd Heap is the only one really going to get it. Watch him go back through Tank Williams and take the ball away. Now, Williams had his hand up inside. That was excellent coverage.
Actually, you got to thank Tank Williams, because if he doesn't hit that ball, it may go right through. That call told me that Matt Cavanaugh was willing, he was going to go for it on 4th down. Because you take one shot to Travis Taylor, then you come right back with another shot. I mean, you're up to 3rd and 10 after that if you don't hit it.
Anthony Wright was brilliant on the drive. 5 out of 6 for 80 yards. 4:43 off the clock. His numbers on the day, they have tied the ball game.
Sometimes you look at a young quarterback and you say, is the game too big for him? You say that in the regular season and then on into the playoffs. When you look at Anthony Wright's demeanor on the sidelines, he is cherishing and relishing this moment to play with this kind of intensity.
McCareins is deep. Short. McCareins on the run at the 14. To the 26. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, the day after the regular season ended, Brian Billick presented the team with a schedule that takes them all the way, day by day, to the Super Bowl. Practice, travel, media commitments. Brian told us that he did this back in 2000 as well, because he wanted the team to know this is for real. The ultimate goal is the Super Bowl. It's right there in front of you. There's a plan, there's a structure, no surprises.
Susie, he is as good a psychologist as there is in professional football. And now the crowd cheering, defense on their feet with the towels.
And this is where the Tennessee Titan offense really has to focus on the movement of the ball.
Eddie George, 5 yards.
Eddie George will take 5.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, hey, you give me 5.
Look at Ray Lewis again. Boom, he goes left. He sees Eddie George, goes back there trying to block him, and he's there. You know, these two guys, we talk about two warriors we talked about going at it today. Eddie George has not backed down one time in this ball game, and Ray Lewis has met the challenge every time.
And he has a very significant 82 yards on the ground.
There it is. Fred Miller, the right tackle, flinched. The crowd now...
Wait a minute. This may be against the defense for pulling him offside.
How can you hear anything?
All you have to do is watch. Did the defense pull him offside?
Delay a game, defense, number 98. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
Anthony Weaver. Eddie George and Ray Lewis with that warrior mentality. They have both done the job today. 82 yards for Eddie. Ray has been in on 16 tackles. And that makes it 2nd and 1 after the penalty. We said whoever won this battle may win the game. It's still up in the air. McNair, blitz coming, unloads. Mason, intercepted. Chris McAlister. The 3rd pick for that Ravens defense.
Well, I don't understand the call. I really don't understand the call. You've shut down their offense all day long. If nothing else, you punt them back deep. You put your defense, which has played tremendously on the field, out there and play the game in a percentage manner. That call, I just didn't think made a whole lot of sense.
Well, you got 2nd and a half a yard, and you want to take a shot, but you want to, I don't want to take a shot at McAlister.
Pick up the first down, run some more time off the clock. If you want to take your shot, take it in the next series of downs.
And I'll tell you what,
first 3-pick game since the last time they played the Ravens in November of 2002.
And another thing, Tennessee better start sending some linebackers, because what they're doing is they're trying to get to Anthony Wright with just 4 down linemen, and they're not getting close.
Jamal Lewis to the 30. Let's go to Susie.
Well, we talked to Chris McAlister about what earned him his first trip to the Pro Bowl this year, and he said it's all about maturity. He grew up a lot after suffering the aftermath of a DUI in training camp, missed a meeting in September. He shamed his family, he said, and then facing the team was even more painful. His goal, change his image to the best corner in the league. Mission accomplished. He has shut down the opponent's top receivers all season.
Done a great job on Mason today. Anthony Wright, short set. Taylor lunges at the sideline, makes the catch at the 35. They'll still need 3 yards.
And I can assure you that this is not 4-down territory.
Travis Taylor is the one that they're going against. Samari Rolle has gone over and played Marcus Robinson. So they figure, all right, you want to put your better corner over there? We'll let Travis Taylor work on Andre Dyson. We feel like we have the advantage. I'm telling you, if the Ravens can move on, if they happen to move on, this is the guy everybody better look out for, because he has the ability to make plays, just hasn't been given a lot of opportunities with only 39 catches throughout the season.
3rd and 3.
Todd Heap is in the slot.
Wright under pressure, intended for Heap, but short. He was double covered. A linebacker and a safety. There is a flag down at the end of the play.
Boy, if this is another personal foul against the Ravens, it just changes field position so much in the favor of the Tennessee Titans.
They punt it anyway. Orlando Brown maybe. But
he was certainly upset after the play.
It's Orlando Brown again. There's no.
After the play is over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 78 in the offense.
Orlando Brown.
That's a 15-yard penalty, and it will still be 4th down.
What hits into his mind, he's going over to defend his player, Orlando Brown. Look at there's the end thrown, the tight end is thrown on the ground by Javon Curse again, and he throws him on the ground again.
That is so silly.
Well, you gotta wonder, what is the value of a football player if he isn't smart enough to be able to play this game? I don't care how physically talented anybody is. They have to understand the rules of the game of football and not hurt their team. 2 critical mistakes by Orlando Brown.
Backs him up all the way to the 20. Zastudil, low line drive kick. Mason lets it bounce. And it will roll down to the 37-yard line. We would love to thank our crew. They have done such hard work. 5 games in the last 3 weeks. Our producer, Jay Rothman. Our director, Chip Dean. Dick Buffington. Andy Reichwald. Jonathan Lebovich. Preben Martin. Brian Yarrow. Eric Mosley. Mark Herklotz. Steve Carter and Bob Brownlee. Steve Raymond, Alex Stern, Mark Fredrickson, Dave Dare, Nancy Volker, and our executive producer of today's telecast, Jed Drake. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Mike Pearl. I cannot tell you the level of respect in which we hold the people who have worked for us so hard all year long.
Here.
We are very lucky to have them and them allow us to be a part of their team.
3 wide receivers for Tennessee. McNair on 2 bad legs. Throws underneath. They'll get a couple.
And the checkdowns that we just saw Eddie George make the catch on, that's what really Neil O'Donnell, who started last week's game in place of Steve McNair against Tampa Bay, wound up hitting a lot. And this is the way you want to work the ball down the field against this Raven defense.
They're going to let this thing run down and go to the 2-minute warning.
And why not? If you are only going to have 1 possession left, make it yours. You've got a chance to win. The other team will never get the ball back. Both clubs have 3 timeouts remaining.
I still think you had time to run 1 play.
Well, they had plenty of time to run a play, but they didn't want to.
We have reached the 2-minute warnings. In his career, Steve McNair has 16 game-winning drives in the 4th quarter or overtime. Can the NFL's co-MVP do it again?
The most recent was in Week 15 against the Houston Texans just a few weeks ago when he hit a touchdown pass on 4th and 10 and gave the Titans a 27-24 win over the Houston Texans.
2nd and 7 from their own 40. McNair throws back to Eddie George, fighting for extra yardage. He's within a yard of the 1st down. Ray Lewis saved it, at least temporarily.
You know that Eddie George got racked. I mean, he got hit and still held on to the football, won, and then turned and tried to get the 1st down. Here he comes in the middle. McNair has no place to go. He pops it to Eddie George. Look at the hit he takes. He's going to get hit by Ray Lewis. Bang. And number 56. Ed Hartwell, and he still picks up an extra yard.
3rd and 1. Blitz coming. Eddie George, 1st down and more. Demps saved a huge gain.
Taking a timeout. Tennessee will take a timeout here. They have 3, and this is a good one. It just takes too long to get all these guys back in line again.
Eddie George, watch the saving tackle that Will Demps, number 47, actually makes. It's just a hit to knock him off balance. He's got a lot of room. Eddie George caught 22 balls through the entire season. 4 of them came last week with Neil O'Donnell as the quarterback against Tampa Bay, and 2 critical ones here in check down situations. That's the way they can move the ball down the field. I believe they're going to have to try and hit one of the receivers somewhere down the field with a big play. Maybe it's time for Frank Wycheck to step up and make a play for him.
And he has rushed for 89 yards in this game.
Wouldn't it be ironic to see him get 100 yards against this team?
And if he does, they're probably going to win. 11 yards would put them close to field goal territory. McNair from the shotgun. Mason. And out of bounds at about the 33-yard line.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing again. When you send 4 and your offensive line gives you that much time, it's just nice and easy to look over the entire field and then find Mason coming across. Look at the blocking up front, folks. This is easy. He just steps up into that lane. Nobody is on Mason. There's nobody around Steve McNair either. And Mason does the smart thing out of bounds. Get as much as you can.
One of the reasons this is the 5th-ranked passing offense in the league is that offensive line. Eddie George, room to run left side, tries to cut it back. He'll lose 2. Ed Hartwell, who is overshadowed by the brilliant Ray Lewis, but shouldn't be for a long time. He's a heck of a player.
Gary Anderson, 44 years old, 22 years in the league. You see his career-long 55. He couldn't do that. 45 we saw earlier. The thing was, when we had a chance to talk to Jeff Fisher last night, he talked about, I said, why did you want Gary Anderson? He said, for this reason, for the playoffs. This is the reason I wanted him here. Now, Craig Hendricks has done a terrific job stepping in. He's 4 out of 5 and only 0 for 1 out of over 50 yards. So
and they had a great kicker to start the year. Joe Nedney, we did the opening game. He injured his knee, had to go on IR. They picked up Gary Anderson between the two. They've had great field goal kickers.
Hendrick came into that opener and nailed a couple of long ones in that one.
Well, if they go long, it'll be Hendrick that they'll take a shot at.
Now, Hendrick is usually the holder, too. So now you'll have a change.
He'll have to hold for himself and then kick.
Drop kick.
Drop kick, which Jim Thorpe used to do extremely well.
You played with him.
I played 2 years with Thorpe.
2nd and 12. McNair underneath to Aaron Kinney, the tight end of the 29. Clock runs, 40 seconds to go.
If they don't pick up the first down here, you're looking at about a 45-yard field goal attempt, and Gary Anderson's already hit one of those.
And it was by plenty.
The Ravens took a timeout.
What do you do here on 3rd and 6? Run and try to pick something up, or do you take a chance and pass?
Run and try to pick something up.
I've got a co-MVP in Steve McNair. I put the ball in his hands, give him a chance to make a throw.
Eddie George, nothing.
That time, that was Gary Baxter that came up and made the play. Now
well, they were guessing run because they had the line of scrimmage loaded. And this is Hendrick, the long-distance field goal kicker coming out. He can either kick it or be the holder, and now here comes Gary Anderson.
Go back to a Gary Anderson kick in an NFC championship game by the Minnesota Vikings and the Atlanta Falcons, I believe. He wound up missing that kick. He got pulled a little bit left when he tried to kick it, I think, a little bit hard.
All these timeouts were taken by the Baltimore Ravens and not the Tennessee Titans. So if the Ravens if they do kick a field goal and make it, the Ravens are going to have about 30 seconds, and that's about it.
They're going to have 30 seconds to kneel down and get ready for overtime.
Exactly.
You don't think he's going to make this?
I don't know.
Well, that's what they're playing for right now, is hoping for overtime. Otherwise, you don't use your timeouts at that point.
The way things have gone for Jeff Fisher, remember, Al Del Greco, in one of the games in this series, missed an extra point and allowed the Ravens to come back. This whole series is about kickers.
Gary Anderson from 46 yards. It's good.
Oh, it never looked like it had a chance.
The 44-year-old kicker, the legend out of Syracuse, makes a huge 46-yard kick right at the very edge of his range.
Oh, man, that ball looked like it wasn't going to clear the line of scrimmage, let alone make it. Here it comes. Boy, they get this thing out fast, and they have plenty of room.
Normally, he runs off the field when he kicks it. That had about 6 inches to spare, it looked like. See, normally he starts running off the field when he hits it.
You know, the worst part about it, here's the problem now. The Ravens get the ball back. There's 29 seconds left to go. They don't have any timeouts, and you know that Tennessee, they're going to put the ball on the ground, so it's going to eat up about 6 or 7 seconds.
And you got Wade Ritchie, who could probably kick a 60-yarder. Gary Anderson usually leaves the practice after a game. He heads home until Wednesday and comes back. They called him up on a fishing trip. They found Neil O'Donnell on a golf course. I figured out I was in the wrong place to be called out of retirement. I went home.
Don't worry about it, Joe. They weren't going to call you back.
Many years ago.
Yeah, I know. You were done.
They'll kick it away, and Lamont Brightful back to the 2. They need a big return, and they're not going to get it. Brightful lost the ball as he went down. They're going to say he was down. No fumble from the 28.
21 seconds left. Look at this. Want to see how close this thing was to the crossbar?
Yes.
Watch this ball, folks. Joe, you're absolutely right. It was about 6 inches.
You know what? It looked like it almost hit the back end of it.
No, it didn't, but that was about as close as you're going to get. Javon Curse is very happy.
Tennessee trying to exercise the demons. They had lost 5 straight to the Ravens. And if they win, hats off to Eddie George for a magnificent and courageous performance. Wright. Taylor tackled inbounds. They cannot stop the clock.
That's a first down. They got to move the chains.
Wright will kill the clock. Only 5 seconds to go.
Okay, I have to do it. I want to say happy birthday to my wife. Can I do that?
Beverly, happy birthday.
Today is her birthday.
It's also Bud Adams' birthday, the owner of the Tennessee Titans. He's 81, and I know Beverly is not.
No, but Beverly is very young.
Well, you know, Brian Billick, when he looks back at this football game, there's 2 plays in this game, the 2 personal fouls that Orlando Brown got that really cost field position, and the last one was on this last drive.
That's right.
The one he got before put him in a hole also.
15 yards, you take that away, they don't get to field goal territory.
This is it. This is the last play.
Right down the middle, intended for Heap, incomplete. He was covered by Peter Sherman.
Game over.
And that is it. The Tennessee Titans have gone on the road behind Eddie George and co-MVP Steve McNair and that great run defense. Gary Anderson's dramatic field goal from 46 yards out gives Tennessee a 20-17 win over Baltimore.